So, welcome to the show. Today I've got Ben with me.
Yeah, I've got a chump with me. It's over to you today because you've got the steering wheel for what we want to talk about.
Well, I just wanted to start the ball rolling on one subject and see where it goes, really.
Yeah.
And one of the most important subjects is awareness, isn't it?
Pushing it straight onto me.
Well, everything starts from awareness, I think.
Mm,
If you, that was a very, yeah, you got something to
in
say in a minute,
agreement. Definitely in agreement.
I know. In life as well. But I mean, we tend to talk about spiritual things, but in life, obviously, everything spiritual comes from what we do during the day. And we've said before, in things like Zen, they talk about this moment being the most important moment, and nothing else matters. And the future is something that may or may not happen. The past is something that's gone, and the important moment is this moment now, where we're talking and being aware and being focused on it. And one of the reasons that I think awareness is very, very important is that it allows us, if we aren't aware of this moment in time, then we're not focused on, we can't be focused on the divine. We can't be focused on God. And all we'll be doing is thinking about things in the past, in the future. And I think that's one of the main reasons why awareness is very, very important for spiritual development, because everything that we do, meditation, mantra, prayer, it's all connecting to the divine. So in those times when you're taking part in that, and you're creating that correct connection, you're aware of it. You're
Mm,
aware of God in those moments. When you step back from it and you lose yourself in daily life and you carry on doing work or things with the family, or you just wasting time with pointless thoughts, dreaming and things like that. I mean, it's not always a waste of time. Sometimes you need to do those things, but they they take you away from that closeness, that
mm,
awareness. Um, so that's where I
definitely.
wanted to start. Your thoughts on that?
I really like it because I think starting from that point, it's quite easy for us then to look at the things that are in the way of that awareness.
Hmm.
And the first one that comes to mind for all of us is
Phone.
the
Yeah.
phone. I don't know if you can see it, but the phone. Um, Yeah, it's funnily enough, it's something that I've really been looking into at the moment because my phone, it's still great, but it's the iPhone 11, which to the cool kids, that's an
You're
old
out of
brick.
date, baby.
It's an old brick. Yeah,
I've got 17.
the screen's all smashed up. Yeah, and I've been really considering the next steps with it because it's not. I don't need to change it actually,
No.
um, but my mind would make me consider changing it because I've thought, oh, I'm a creator. I need a better camera. I need a better battery. I need this, that, and the other. Those
Mhm.
things would be great. But then I started to look at it a different way, and I thought, actually, in terms of life and in terms of like awareness, like you're talking about, that's the number one thing that obstructs it.
Yeah, takes you away
The
from
number one thing. And I was like, what? Why would I want to invest in the number one thing that's distracting me?
it. Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, I have to work from it. So I need it, but limiting it is like something that I've been really looking into on how I can do and what I could do.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did consider, which I've not done, and I'm not sure if I will do because looking into it more, it seems like very hard to actually get through the world now, is to go to what they call a dumb phone, which is like
Mm.
not a smartphone, flip phone or something. But it's when you look into it, it's actually quite challenging to get through the world with one now.
Yes.
Um, you can do it, obviously, but it
Yeah, you
makes
can.
things like very, very, very hard when you look into it more and more.
The
But
problem
yeah,
with the problem with the phone is it has become the most powerful distraction because it's so convenient. You have to look at your life's, and this is part of awareness, isn't it? Be aware of yourself reaching for your phone, you taking it to the toilet with you, and uh, taking it out with you for a walk, and
putting a lead on it.
It's become
Making
the
it sit
pet.
and giving
So
it
I'm
a
not sure if the
treat.
phone's the pet or you're the pet. But the awareness thing, that's the crucial part, because if you are aware of your actions rather than just allowing it to habitually take place, then you've got a
Mm.
chance that you can bring down that screen time and use that
Mhm.
time better for yourself.
As distracting as these devices are, it's pretty incredible to think that any bit of information that you may need, any bit of inspiration, any tools or techniques that might help you to grow can be found and accessed from anywhere in the world, pretty much, from this little device. It's absolutely incredible. But naturally, the problem with that is that I see it all the time. Many people become completely overwhelmed with information. There's just too much information out there now that many people either spend all day long consuming and they don't take any steps forward, or they consume what they think is enough and they don't know where to go from there. And it's one of the reasons that I created my online meditation and spiritual school. It's basically so that I've consolidated everything that I've learned over 25 years of practicing this stuff myself and being under the guidance of a divine being into digestible lessons that are action based. They're there to really incentivize you to learn something and act on it immediately. We have live classes throughout the week. There's ongoing programs. I incentivize people to work on virtues, and we do lots of other things outside of meditation to help you grow a deeper connection with the divine or with your higher consciousness. It's very universal. So there's lots of different types of people from all different types of experience levels all across the world inside this school. It's really an amazing, amazing place. Within the school, you can talk to me directly, so I can give you personal guidance. I can help you to refine your practice. And so feel free to check it out. But let's get straight back to the podcast.
Yeah, it's a really good point about the phone. Very good point indeed.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the connections with the divine, everything that we do when we're trying to be spiritual, whether we're meditating or mantraing or even talking about it with people, we're the aim of all of these things, the ultimate aim of all these things, is to move you steadily closer to. And we talk about the divine a lot because we believe in God. For other people, it might be oneness. You know, in the Buddhist way of thinking, it's connecting with the oneness at all the times. For different belief systems, there's this totality, this
Mhm.
over umbrella thing that is everything that different people have different names for, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to evolve ourselves up through spiritual practice back to that. Um, and that can take place very slowly or more quickly, depending on practices you do, the influences around you. You know, we talk about an avatarial influence, which is very powerful and we believe helps. But it's all down to intent, it's all down to effort, it's all down to what you put in and the awareness of things around you at the time and what you're doing with your time massively alters that,
Mhm.
doesn't it? Doesn't
It
it
does.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. And like you say, we've got, well, not, you could say we've not got ages and ages throughout the day because lots of people would consider that they've got very busy lives. But with
Mm,
that awareness, it then it gives us that opportunity to see more clearly where we can make time, or we could integrate some of these types of things, mantra, or fill time that we spend with other things. Often,
yeah,
like often, often just enjoyable things. It might be generally things that are very comfortable and easy to reach for.
yeah.
Watching YouTube, listening to podcasts, and often those types of things feel productive. And to some extent, they are, unless you, like Sai Baba talks a lot about, have a ceiling on desires. You could
Mm.
say we should have a ceiling on our like entertainment and stuff like that, and have a ceiling on lots of different
There's
aspects of
the
our
middle
life.
path with everything, isn't it? The middle path with everything. So if you're
Mm,
going too far into one thing or the other, then yeah, you know, you're moving away from that center we always talk about. It's it's funny. I was having a conversation with Jim just yesterday or the day before, and we were talking about mantraing, and one of the ways that we've been taught to use mantra, and I'm sure a lot of other people have as well, is there's a little background thing. So if you're working, you're doing a task or something, you're washing up, you can kind of have the mantra going in your mind in the background. So you're connecting with the divine, but you're still doing things in life.
mhm,
And that's a really great way of doing it. And it's quite a way of you're still connecting, you're still putting a little bit of effort in and doing it. But what we were saying was that there's like really there's convenient times to do things. We have these convenient times. So, I have half an hour set out to meditate. So that's a convenient time for me to connect with the divine.
Mhm.
But what's quite interesting is, and we were talking about a practice that I've been doing, and you've mentioned it before, and it's a practice that just kind of happened. And that is, the magpies thing.
Y You seeing the magpies, you mean?
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So to those who don't know, I won't go into a long explanation about it, but when at one point I started to try and find a job, and I I'd spoken to our teacher about it, and I had about 5 or 6 appointments set up, interviews set up, and I went into the first interview, and as I got out of the car, this magpie landed right in front of me and just kind of stood there. It's like it wasn't going anywhere, um, so I couldn't miss it. And I went into the interview, came out, went on to the next interview because I had them kind of staggered over about 3 days. Went into the next interview, and there were like 3 magpies in this car park, and they were doing the same thing. They were just walking around in front of me, and I'd never noticed anything like this before. I'm sure they had, but I hadn't noticed it. I hadn't been aware of it. And then I went to another interview and another. And each interview I went to, because I started looking for it now, each interview I went to, there were more magpies. And then I went to this final interview, which it was the job I ended up getting. And there was this car park, and there must have been 15 or 16 magpies in this car park. And I kind of made this agreement with myself that, okay, at the time, we'd just been to see Mother Mira, and I knew Mother Mira was an avatar, and I suspected that Mother Mira had been sending the magpies to kind of A, make me feel that somebody's with me at the interviews, and B, as a kind of sign to say, this one's all right. Yeah, that one's all right. That's the one. That's the job. So I, I decided, right, because of this, every time I see a magpie, I'm going to say 10 of Mother Mira's mantras. And this was 30 years ago, got to be 30 years ago now. And so I've tried to continue that practice. I haven't always done it. There have been periods when I've not been so aware of it. But most of the time, when I'm out walking, I see magpies, I will start to mantra. It can be really embarrassing and difficult because I might be with somebody and talking to them. So sometimes I have to put it off and try and remember. Yeah. If you know, if just what are you doing? You're crazy. What do you do? You're crazy. And it takes a couple of minutes to say 10 mantras as well in your mind, or a minute or
Yeah.
two to say 10. That's all right if it's just one bird. But what happens sometimes is I walk into I'll be walking the dog, and I'll see 2, and then sometimes, I'm not always great with it. Sometimes my first thought is, oh, I've got to do 10 mantras.
Didn't see it.
Gotta And then another one fly, 10, another 10, that's 20, and then 3 more fly. That's 50 mantras I've got to do. And I'd have been thinking about something that I was really enjoying thinking about. And this is the thing we were talking about. The wonderful thing about this practice is it's an inconvenient time to connect with God.
Mm.
It's not a convenient time to connect with God. It's a time when your mind is not happy to connect with God because you're dreaming, thinking about other things. And so it's a wonderful practice to stir things up a bit. And what I've
Mhm.
found is it's been brilliant because I'll find myself, I might be thinking about negative things or getting wrapped up in things that are going on in life. And then a magpie will come in. And I don't want to break away from my train of thought. But because I've committed to it, I do. And it's so irregular as well.
Mhm.
It's completely irregular. So it's a brilliant practice for that. Do you have any practices that similar to that, or any?
I don't think I have anything quite as random as that. I've got, I think, just the normal things, but you could argue that they are a little bit more regular, which is just the offering up. I suppose the things that I do that are a bit more random are prayers for people.
Yeah.
So if I'm out and about, this is one actually that our teacher passed on to you, and then you mentioned it to me,
Mm.
and it was one that I always do, which is if I see an ambulance going by,
Yeah.
or really anyone. If I'm driving along and I happen to see someone who I feel is struggling, homeless person, or
Mm.
I will be prompted inwardly to. I'll kind of remember that I should offer a prayer for them or offer some help for them. So that's a kind of random one, and that's a
It
nice
is.
one that you weave into your day. But no, maybe I need to find something.
Well, but that is exactly that. That is a random one. You see an ambulance going by, or even a police car. Bless
Mm,
them, look after who they're going to. Um, it's great though because it does mess up your happy. You've got this pattern of I'm going out for a walk now, and I'm going to think about this, and I'm going to think about that, and
mhm.
and then all of a sudden, bang! You're forced to connect, even though you didn't plan to. It wasn't in your, and I love that chaos of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is chaotic at times because you're thinking, and if you're having a really good think about something and you're really enjoying it, and then that come, oh no, bloody magpie! But here's the wonderful thing: whatever you're thinking about is generally worldly.
You can come back
Almost
to it.
almost all the time it's worldly. And within 20 mantras or so, it's not important anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, which goes to show our power, doesn't it,
Mm.
to let go of things, and I would imagine that practice is amazing for training you to let go of
Yes.
sort of
Yes.
rubbish that we just
I'd
think
not thought
about.
about that, but yeah, you're right.
Mm, yeah, which I think meditation itself is naturally
Mhm.
very good for as well, is that
Yeah.
ability to switch what you're thinking about, and that
Be
alone
Yeah,
brings so
sorry.
much hardship to everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah,
If you just had that ability to, at any moment, whenever you want, with complete clarity, be aware of what you're thinking about and switch what you're thinking, which we actually do,
mhm,
but there's that veil of resistance that makes it
there is.
difficult. But if there wasn't that veil of resistance and you could just switch whenever you wanted to, our life would be infinitely
Easier.
more peaceful and easier. Yeah,
It really
yeah.
would. It really would.
But that veil of resistance, I think through the process and the discipline of making time every day to meditate, working at it, growing in that sense, you do get better at just being able to switch your lines of
Mm,
thinking and becoming more comfortable and used to that feeling of that resistance and being able to step through it. So it does
absolutely.
develop you in so many ways, and and that ability is then used in basically like any field of life, isn't it?
Absolutely. You've
Any
got somebody
aspect
at
of
work
life.
who is irritating you. You can teach yourself to just switch off from it.
Yeah.
Most of the time you can teach yourself to switch off from it because you know it's gonna pass as well. It's gonna end. Um, and it's a powerful tool to move you away from different states of mind as well. If
Hmm.
you get dragged down into certain things and you're suddenly aware of that, you can find yourself lamenting something or being upset about something that there's a lot of stuff going on in the world now, and it's every time you pick up your phone or you turn on the TV, there's loads
Hmm.
of really negative things. But for most of us, those really negative things barely impact our lives, if at all. And
Yeah.
but it's still easy to get drawn into it all, and it's important to be able to kind of, okay, I'm leaving that behind now. I'm going to
Yeah.
move on to this, and that's where things like mantra are wonderful because you can go into mantra, and you will leave that behind. You
Hmm.
you can't help but leave it behind if you're doing it properly. So yeah,
Yeah. It's one. I asked recently. I'd asked Deus actually about how much how much should we be staying informed with like what's going on online and things,
mm,
and around the world, and how much should we just close the doors and just live our own lives. And as he often does, he recommended a balance of, yeah, stay informed, but he said, and he made a really big point of it, that every human being needs to develop the skill to be able to switch off from it
mm.
and move on from it. Like, be informed about what's going on, know what's happening, and then let it go and
Well,
not dwell
sorry.
on it for the whole day and allow it to, spoil you.
Well, it's just another thing taking you out of your center, isn't it? It's another
Yeah.
thing that's moving you from peace.
Hijacking
Because
your awareness.
before you turned that TV on and saw all these terrible things that are going on in the world, you were probably quite peaceful.
Yeah.
and then you're drawn out of the center into discord and thinking about it and considering it. All of these things that barely affect you personally. I'm sure they do affect some people in the world. Of course they do, or else they wouldn't be up there. But for most of us, they're not. And so it is almost a pointless thing to get upset about. Be aware of it, but not upset about. And you can, as we've said before, you can see yourself sliding out of the center if you're becoming, angry, upset,
Mhm.
um, judgmental about it. It's it's easier said than done. but
Yeah.
but
I
again,
did a
it's sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I did, a thing in the school recently. I did it for my I actually just I did it for myself, and I thought this is a good thing to do also do with the school. And it was basically to, look at your day and actually it's a slightly off topic point, but you'll see where it crosses over. And it's to write a priority list of what are actually your full priorities,
Hmm.
considering people, considering friends, any hobbies that you might have, the body, um, the divine, God, whoever, and literally write them down in what you consider to be the order of like most importance,
Mm.
and then match that up with how you're living your day. And it's amazing how they're
They're not the same.
the priority list and the reality of how your day unfolds are very different.
Yes,
But it
yeah,
actually sheds, as you were talking about awareness, it brings awareness to that. It brings awareness to the fact
yeah,
that, okay, these are actually the things that I want to prioritize, but I'm getting up in the morning and I'm working for 2 hours, or I'm getting up in the morning and I'm watching the news for 2 hours, or I'm not, it's not matching up with what I consider my priorities to
yeah.
be. And it's an amazing way of just like looking, taking a step back and seeing,
It's a brilliant way
that
of doing it.
discrepancy.
It is. It's a brilliant way of doing it, and it also allows you to see if you're asking too much of yourself as well.
Mm,
Because sometimes when you start to ask too much of yourself, you hide from all of those things. Instead of doing as much as you can, you actually just don't do any.
mhm,
If you know what I mean, it's a brilliant way of seeing that, and
mm.
yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
The other thing with it as well, and this is what I found, is that I was the things that I enjoyed, which were high up on the priority list. So for me, my work is
Hmm.
something that I love, and I was finding that I was spending a massive amount of time doing the work, and then everything else was around it. All
Yeah,
the other things were around it. Whereas what I needed to do actually was manage that better, slim down on that, be
yeah,
more efficient with that, and prioritize the other things that were higher up on the list as well,
yeah,
and rebalance it a bit.
yeah, yeah. Because it is easy to just get sucked into the areas that you find the most easy
Mm,
to take part in. We all do it. Everybody does it.
yeah,
That's not always necessarily the easiest thing either. It's just the thing that you feel the best about.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might be that you're upset. Like I was years ago, obsessed with exercise and could
exactly.
do it for hours and hours and hours. But is that what you want to do? It might be what you want to do, and that's fine. But you actually can ask yourself, is that what I want to spend my time doing?
I suppose as well with if you're aware, if you're really considering things and you're there seeing it, seeing the truth of it, you can see that maybe there's too much of that or not enough of something else in the
Mm,
balance that you've got. Everybody's got to find their own balance, and I don't think, and it's don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right because it's hard to get it right. It's hard to get it right.
definitely.
As long as you're doing, as long as you to get to your goal, everybody thinks it's start here, go there, and it's never that. It's
Yeah. It is the other thing, yeah, because if you try to then follow some military procedure that's, perfectly crafted minute by minute, it's just
Mm.
you're not gonna last 5 minutes.
You'll get knocked off balance by life. Everything
Yeah.
that you, but that happens for a reason too. I think I think you need time sometimes to let the lessons settle in when you're doing things.
Mm,
You s- You're trying to move too quickly from A to B, and actually you need to gestate on something that's just happened. Or Mother Mary talks about undoing knots, doesn't she? She talks
mhm,
about undoing knots, and she says that some of the knots are so complicated it takes a very long time to undo them. And I
mm,
can see that because they're conditioning based knots that maybe have come from not just this lifetime but previous lifetimes too.
mhm.
and built up and built up, and they're in your psyche, and undoing those, releasing yourselves from the burden or the holdback of those can be, yeah, can be a significant thing, but it takes time. That's why we have time.
It's I remember again with Sai Baba, who said something to the effect of the belly only allows one plate of food because it needs time to digest it. You can't eat
Yes.
15 plates at once. You need that time. And it's the same with like knowledge, and it's the same with all of this, isn't it?
Yeah, it
We have
is.
to digest things in little pieces
Yeah, we
and
do.
allow ourselves to take it on and then grow hopefully again.
And
There's the side
grow into that new understanding, because it takes a
apply
while.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, apply it.
yeah, yeah, and appreciate it as well.
Mm,
It's, change is a strange thing, isn't it? And it's, uh, it's affected by those around you as well, because sometimes you've moved forward and into a new area, and a kind of, you're still the same person, but you're different. You've grown in some ways, and then you meet somebody from way, way back, and they still see you in as you were then, and
that's
you're
funny,
you're
isn't it?
you're a different person. Yeah, you must experience this more than me, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, big time.
I've always
I
been
think
nearly perfect.
what's that?
I said, "I've always been nearly perfect, but you've really grown recently. Well done, you." No, I'm kidding.
Pat on the head.
A patronising pat on the head. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
I think I have changed to the extent where people have sort of just accepted, oh, that's Ben's thing now. It's
Yeah.
almost like when I started to change, it was more of a big shock.
Mm.
Now it's kind of like they've just accepted that
Yeah.
I've got a different way with things. Like I
You
remember when I first went vegetarian. I mean, at the time I was 23, 20.
mm.
I think I was about 23, something
Yeah, I
like
think
that,
you were.
24, and still really a young lad. And a lot of my friend group from school,
Mm.
just all rugby players, couldn't understand it. What do you mean you've gone vegetarian? What do you mean you're doing this and that?
'Cause you were doing the triathlons and stuff at the time as well, weren't you? So I was worried about whether you'd be able to get the energy you needed.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit, and I only did it for, well, I did it as a month-long trial to begin with to see how my body responded,
Mm.
and my performances just started to go like that.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
wasn't just down to the diet, but
Yeah.
it wasn't hindered by the diet.
New trainers.
New trainers, I think. Yeah, yeah. Those new Nike ones with the springs. The ones they've banned everywhere.
Swimming with flippers, new trainers and a motorbike, everything, it all helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another point actually, because often we're scared to change because we've got one eye on how someone else is going to consider that change. And it is important to consider how people, perhaps like partners and things, might, and take
Mm.
that gently. But there's other people who it's not, it's nothing to do with them how you change, friends perhaps.
Mm.
And I think often we will like look at society and look at friends and then make a judgment. Like I say, it's sensible to do that, but it shouldn't be the thing that sweeps you completely away from what you wanted to do, I don't think, unless
No.
it's a ridiculous idea. But
I kind of shapeshift. I don't know about you, but I shapeshift. So if I see somebody, from my past who expects Pete as I was then, I'm quite happy to be Pete as I was then. As long as
mm,
I'm not,
mm.
I've never really done anything terrible, so I'm not gonna, do it. But if I've got a friend who just wants to talk about football all night long, I'm happy to sit down and talk about football all night long. That's not a
Yeah,
problem. And I don't expect anybody else to wanna sit down with me and talk about spirituality, um,
yeah,
because it's not everybody's thing. I get that. That's all right. And I'm perfectly all right. I still love people who are friends of mine because I love them. They're wonderful
yeah.
people. Doesn't Just because they're not into the same things I'm into spiritually doesn't matter. I'm not into the same music as them sometimes, but we talk about music, and
Hmm.
so I shapeshift back to whoever I'm talking to, really, and talk about what they're interested in, and do
It's
it
a
that way.
really, I think it's a skill actually to be able to do that.
Mm,
I think it's something that you have to work at to be able to do that. Um, yeah, I've had to do the same thing in lots of cases with friends and things like that. It's just I'm quite happy to as well. I think that the key the area that I have got better at over time is when I was younger, when I was 22, perhaps 20, 21, 22, probably before I turned vegetarian, I'd get more swept into things that I wouldn't normally want to do.
It's easier for that to happen when you're a bit younger, isn't it? Because the
Yeah.
social life that you have then is very different.
Cool.
All
We can
right.
wrap it up then.
All right.
Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too. Glad you're back in
Hopefully
it.
we can go again next week.
All right, buddy. All right.
All right.
Au revoir.
See you in a bit.